Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 20th episode of Phenomenal Woman Wednesday. I am your host, Dr. Saran Nataki. Thank you for joining. Welcome to Power 365 Phenomenal Woman Wednesdays. This podcast will address issues ranging from what is a phenomenal woman? Are you enough? Community service, paying it forward, the manifestation of dreams with words and action, the power in being a woman, the men who support phenomenal women, fashion, and much more. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining today. You have tuned into part 2 of a 2-part interview with Mrs. Joan Williams. Last week in part 1, Joan shared her experience of growing up Ghanaian in America. Joan provided cultural context by sharing the music her parents exposed her to while growing up in her household, and she also discussed colorism and its impact on her overall self-image. Please go back and listen to episode 19 if you have not done so already. This week, we pick up the second half of our conversation, and Joan discusses why she took a 9-month break from social media, and we also discuss the lessons of COVID-19. Enjoy. You've come to a place where now you own who you are. You're more confident in accepting your own or defining your own beauty for yourself, right? And so social media, and I've talked about this a lot on this podcast, but I think it's different for different people. So I tend to kind of bring this up because I'd like to get different perspectives on it and how people are using social media, navigating it, keeping their perspective healthy, having a healthy perspective and usage of it, and not really being impacted in a negative way about the images that flash and, the perfection that's seen there. How would you describe your relationship with social media? I know that you've taken time off at different points, and maybe you could talk a little bit about your relationship, why you chose to take breaks, and how did it benefit you to take those breaks?
Okay, yeah, for sure. I think my relationship, I would describe it as changing, ever changing, with social media. I think my first Facebook was like 10 years ago. So if you guys been around that long, I was kind of like tripping on that. Like, wow, okay, it's been around for like 10 years already, or maybe a little bit more. And when it first came out, I was on it a lot, right? For various reasons. One was, oh my God, this is new. Okay, I can share, pictures of people who I haven't seen in so long, and, da 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 da. I also was able to share stuff or events with people who are in Ghana, right? So, because it's worldwide. So, family that I may not necessarily write like letters or stuff to, or send pictures and things like that of the family to, it was an easy, quick way for them to be able to connect. We could connect, and talk more frequently in that realm. So there's a whole bunch. I have family in London. I have family in Ghana. I have family in oh my God, keep in mind. Anyway, different parts of the world, right?
It's somewhere.
Somewhere, right? Different parts all over. So I was like, okay, cool, we can do that. And then there became different forms of social media. So then you have Facebook, Instagram came. I think there was a time I forgot MySpace. There was all kinds of these things, Twitter, all this stuff. There was a point where I was on like everything. And then I was like, okay, this is like a full-time job. Like, first of all, if I'm posting and then I'm looking at everything that other people are posting, and it's like it could become overbearing. Now, there were positives because just as much as I was sharing, I was able to see other people's families and things. I will support anybody. I get happy when people like, oh, this person graduated. Oh, this person got a promotion. That is wonderful. I truly, I get happy when people are doing okay, right? But that was the thing with social media too. Okay, so let me back up. So, okay, I'm seeing all these things. It becomes overbearing. It's too much. I might be putting out too much, I feel, or I am on there scrolling. You could be there for hours at a time.
Yeah, the rabbit hole.
Yes. And And then I started buying things. So I would see like an outfit or something, and then all of a sudden I'm starting to buy stuff off of something I saw on social media. I was like, okay, hold on. There was a point where I said, okay, this is too much. I'm on here way too much. I'm buying stuff now. I'm getting caught up. Oh, this person's life is doing so great. What's wrong with my life? So then you start internalizing things. Well, I did. I started internalizing things. And then, so it was like my mental thing, psyche was not good. Like it was going in a bad direction. So I said, when I realized that, I think it was 2018 going into 2019, New Year, I said, okay, I'm going to take myself off social media I didn't give it a time, but I was like, in my mind, I was like 6 months. I'm not going to go on for 6 months. Let's see how this works. Like what will happen? So I took a break. And it ended up being 9 months, I believe, that I stopped. And during that time, I found other things to do. Right? I started reading books. I felt better. Like I wasn't looking for, that was another thing. When you post something, it's like, okay, how many likes did you get? Then you look at who liked it, and then you realize who didn't like it. Like it was ridiculous, right? It was becoming really just, like you said, a rabbit hole. It was like, no, this is too much. And then it's affecting me. So when I took the break, I felt almost like an instant like release. Okay, all right, I'm gonna start journaling now, because I felt myself, my mental psyche was not right. Like my mental health was not right. So I wanted to get back on track with, okay, who are you, Joan? Like what's going on with you? Like, jot down your feelings. How are you feeling? That kind of thing. So I was really happy and glad that I was able to do it in that time. And from that point, I am not reliant on social media like I was in the past. Like the direction that it was going, I have steered from it. So I may not be on there for a week at a time, or I'll spot, it'd be like straight 10 minutes or something. I'll look and that's it. Or I won't post, I'm not posting every 2 seconds or whatever it is, right? Like I'm not doing all that. And the other thing that I noticed on social media, obviously people are going to show you what they want you to see. Life, you have to realize that everybody's life is not always a vacation, positive. There's things, you choose what you want to share out there, and just keeping that in perspective as well. It sounds so elementary, but it's so you can get caught up real easy, in believing that, oh my God, their lives are perfect, nothing goes wrong in their lives or whatever, but you put out what you want people to see at the end of the day. So that it's ever changing. And right now I feel like I'm in a healthy spot with it for myself. But there's positives in it too, obviously.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's great. Thank you for sharing that. When you say that your mental psyche was being affected, and you're talking about the highlight reel. I mean, I just got through discussing this on another podcast as well, that social media, Instagram, for example, is not a place you go to watch all of the negative, like, oh, so-and-so got divorced, so-and-so lost their house, oh, so-and-so died, so-and-so is homeless, oh, so-and-so got beat down, so-and-so's teeth are knocked out, oh, look at her, she got 5 cavities, had to have all her teeth removed. Like it's not, you don't you don't want to look at that, So it's it's supposed to be, at least I think, I don't know what they created for, but I would think that, what it has become is this place that's inspirational feeding ground, right? So inspiration, not inspiration and not aspiration.
There you go.
Yeah, because you're inspired, but you don't want to be aspiring to become what you see, right? So like when you say you started buying stuff, girl, oh my gosh. yeah, that can be a big problem. It really can. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to stop following some of
Yes.
these designers because Jesus. I don't know if you, well, anyway, I am drawn to being great. I'm drawn to being great. And so in doing so, I always want the very best that I can afford, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
The very best that I can afford. I want it to be, and that's just me, and no judgment to anyone else. Anytime I talk about, and it's funny that I still feel like I have to like give that disclaimer, but, I made a decision like yourself, like I'm just gonna, this is what it is, like it or not,
Mm-hmm.
so anyway, I aspire for, to be great in my own way. And
Mm-hmm.
so, in doing so, there's a lot of inspiration out there. And so, what I have learned is that it's totally wonderful and amazing to admire someone
Mm-hmm.
else's style, someone else's perspective on style, how they choose it. And it can be beautiful, but it doesn't mean that it has to be beautiful on me. I have my own approach, and so
Right.
um,
Right.
really having a very clear understanding of my own personal style helps me
Mm-hmm.
to not be pulled so
Impulsive,
much to,
like
yeah,
me.
to click, just like click, 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 click.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, I mean, I still, partake in shopping, but I don't. I do. I
Yeah.
guess what I'm saying, I do understand what you mean about being impulsive with your buying based upon what you see on social media. So that can really be um,
Yes.
a thing. Like I know that another friend of mine there's certain people that are so like they're just on it with their fashion. And if you're like, if that's your thing and you just see, like she just said, I just had to stop following that person because it was just becoming coming to the pressure was just too intense. So, but
Right.
yeah, so no, but you have to have that internal. I think that's great. What made you go from 6 months to 9 months? Did you just feel so good that you just decided, let me just keep going with it, or how did that work?
Yeah, it was, I was in no rush, no
Mhm.
hurry. Like there was no, and even when I did, it was like, it was funny because when I did go on, I guess there's an alert like, Joan or whatever the name is,
Mhm.
has posted for the first time in a long time or
Mhm.
something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so my my household was like, oh, mom's back. Like she's back on social media.
She's rejoined
Mom's
us.
back.
Yeah.
She's rejoined us. But while I wasn't on it, they would share every now and then if someone, posted something like, oh, such and such graduated, or such and such said something about you, mom, or something like, they
Mhm.
would tell me. Daryl would tell me too. But yeah, it just, I don't know. I was okay. I was debating going for a whole year, but I was like, well, it's okay as long as I monitor. So now I even place limits, for myself on the phone. You can do that with
Mhm.
the iPhone. So I'll place limits on myself. Like if it's too much, then I'll be like, okay, that's it for the day. Because there are days, especially during this quarantine, that you may have more time than you did in the past.
Yeah.
So, um, so yeah, I'll just do that again, just as a mental, health kind of. You don't
Mhm.
need to be on here this long. Go ahead and put it down. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. I do I think I started turning my alerts off. It's been a while. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
that constant ding ding ding. I couldn't take it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Because you feel so like moved to check the
Yes.
alerts.
I turned off my notifications. I don't have
Yeah, I
notifications.
don't have
So
that. Yeah.
yeah,
I check it when I want. I'm not driven by the
exactly.
notifications. That does
Exactly.
help.
Yep. Yep.
Um
Yep. Yep.
okay. So then, you know, we've talked about so much here. um,
I know.
so, one thing that I want to ask you is, in life, and this is just, kind of tagging on to our discussion about social media and its, highlight reel. But real life, in real life, it's made up of all kinds of obvious wins and also opportunities for growth. Some people call them losses, but I like to call them opportunities for growth, because even when it's not going your way, there's still a teachable moment in that. What is your key? And that's a new philosophy that has evolved in the last 10 years. I think I've kind of always thought of it that way, but I started vocalizing it with myself, because I'm not a loser, I don't lose.
No, you're not.
I'm just saying I don't lose. So it's an opportunity for growth. What did I learn? How can I, past it?
Right.
So,
right. That's a great way to think about it.
Yeah. Thank you. And what is your key to navigating the peaks and valleys that life brings your way?
I think, one thing for me is having positive and grounded people around me. Definitely helps me, navigate. Like, my husband is my biggest cheerleader. So when it's always, he's always very positive, in those negatives, just like you said, he will bring out positive, and he doesn't have the perspective of quote unquote losing. And that's helped me to see things differently. He sees it differently. The glass half full, right? So having someone like that around me, my mom as well, like when it's one of those, valleys and I'm not feeling too great, she also will, in her way, say it, give it to me straight and come up with a positive around it to help me. And as those, through life, we have so many valleys that when the next one comes, I can remember and draw off of what those two very influential people have told me over, the years, and use it to go through the next valley, if that makes sense. And just, accepting that they will come is another thing. They're going to come. So, and in that, even through the peaks, not losing sight of who I am to the core. Because, like, if I become a millionaire tomorrow, like, I don't want to change who I am. You know what I mean? Just realizing and accepting, like, Joan, this is who you are. Don't lose sight of that in those great times and in those bad times, So I think for me, the key is having the people around me and accepting that they will come, accepting and realizing that they're going to come, and what are you going to make the decision to get through it. They don't last long. They come and they go, so just trying to have that foresight and realizing, like, it will be over at some point. So get through it. That's how I see it.
It's really a wave we're riding, right? Because you catch your breath, and then here comes the next one. And it's not always, and some of them are, like little dips. Some of them are big dips. And so having someone around you that is able to see the glass half full is very helpful. Because no one gets through this life unscathed. We're all going to have some kind of something that we have to, go through, and being able to tap into the tools of people around you to help you navigate is extremely important. I know, people used to say years ago, Saran, you're like, you're like invincible. Like you're able to just, get through this and get through that. And, like, you're still doing this and you're still doing that. And I'm not invincible at all. I'm affected. I'm a human being. I get tired. I get all that, but I am a glass half full person. And so, it doesn't always translate for everyone at, I can be almost overly zealous, maybe, for some, depending on where their vibration is at the time. So, like, if someone comes to me with a circumstance, I'm immediately jumping to the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, okay, well, look, you know what? You have you have one leg. You still have a leg. I mean, look at this person. This person is doing this. This person is doing that with one leg. This person is hiking. Did you see the National Geographic episode where the host is like doing all these and they don't even mention his leg and he's got a prosthetic? Like, I'm jumping there, and sometimes you need a moment to, adapt and adjust to the situation before you can go there. But that's kind of how I've approached things, is by I coach myself up with that, like I don't allow myself to sit there. I think, Ebony Shields, who we both know very well, and our sister, she mentioned on her episode that her husband told her when she received her diagnosis that, have your moment to cry, but we're not going to vacation here. And so
I love that quote when I heard it. Yep.
Yeah, this is just an amazing thing. And as I reflect on it, I think that's kind of how I do it. Because boy,
I know.
when I release that book, by the way, everyone, I'm writing a book. It's called Flora's Daughter.
Cannot wait for this book.
So Flora's Daughter. But yeah, I talk about a lot of those early challenges, still living through life, but I think my ship is stronger now. Like, I don't feel I think that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. You've had a lot of positive people around you. Your husband, for example, it's great.
Yeah, thank you. I think he's awesome too. I think he's great. Awesome. I'm very blessed actually, we're going to be talking about our little story on another episode, because we grew up together. But yeah, I think he is absolutely wonderful. We all have, he's very resilient as well. Because, I came with some stuff that he had to take on and, my stuff became his stuff, because you can't get married and not both start caring. Yeah. And that's the importance. I know we're kind of going off on a tangent, but that is the important thing about being transparent with your partner when you are coming together and building a family, because, people enter marriages with secrets. And so if you're entering with secrets, you have all this luggage and you're carrying around all this luggage, and your partner is over here light and tap dancing and and he's like, and you like trying to go, I just can't keep up. And he's like, why you can't keep up? Why you can't keep up? You're like, I just can't. So if you share that you're carrying these things, then you both can carry them and they become a little lighter for you. And his shoulders are built to carry heavy loads. So, he can carry a lot of it. And if you're with a good one like me, he'll take on most of it. Try to take on all of it, but you can't, you're never excused.
You still have to,
you have to carry some of it yourself.
Yeah.
So, but thank you for that. Yeah, I think we're both blessed with wonderful partners that are very supportive and just ride or die, do anything. I know Daryl, your husband, is definitely that for you. He's certainly a rock, and he's consistently been that. I've never known a time. I mean, you have your marriage and you have your, ebbs and flows of how you want to relate with one another. Just like, we're not here people saying that it's Disneyland every day,
Not at all.
What we are saying is that, at the core of it, we're able to recognize the positivity in our spouses. And that's important. Like, I never sit here and try, like, my life is so perfect. I have no challenges. Everything, the money is just flowing, and it's just the money is flowing, and and I mean, there's ebbs and flows with everything. But together, together you get through it. You ride it out, right? And you can make it look flawless.
Right. Again, you put out what you want, for people to see your experience. Yeah. But you're right. Yeah.
And not for secrecy, not to be like, what am I trying to say? Deceptive, not to be deceptive.
No.
But your marriage is sacred. It really is sacred. The things that go on between a husband and wife are sacred. And people lose sight of that. You have to hold that close to you.
Yes, in life. Indeed.
Yep. All right. So Miss Joan, what are your thoughts on faith and its role in your life?
Faith is central in my life. I mean, it just is. Like we were just talking about Daryl. We got saved pretty much at the same time. And when I say that, religion has always been a part of my life growing up. But there was a point when I was living in Philadelphia. I had left. That's a whole other thing. But when I had gone, we were at a church service, and I think I was pregnant with Nay at the time. And, there was an altar call, and I went, for it. And, of course, Daryl then just comes as well, because that's just what Daryl does. And from that point, we got saved together and began to really understand what it all meant. Because, when you're growing up, you're forced to go, you got to develop your own relationship with God. And that's what we did. But we did it, what was, I think, unique for us is that we did it kind of together. And in that, it's been the central part of us as a family unit, as husband and wife, as people, trying to raise kids in this world. We'll draw on it, in good and bad times. I mean, Daryl would hold Bible studies here. We would, as a family. We would, we go to church and stuff. Outside of the normal thing, we'll have, like I said, just Bible study. Some of the kids' friends would come over prior to all this going on. This is when they were younger. Their friends would come over. I mean, even today, he holds Zoom prayer meetings with young men, like my son's friends and things like that.
That's awesome.
He's been trying to get with Grady and them to do one, but he does one with other people. So it's just, and him doing that is a great example. Like, I think he's more vocal about it. And with me, I draw on it, I guess, in a more silent way, in my quiet time, on my walk, in my, like shower. The shower is like, I think, my church, like, where that's where I'm really thinking and thanking God, for days, health, life, whatever it is. That's how I feel. So it's an integral role that it's always there. It's central in my life.
Yeah. I like what you said about, being in the shower and that being your church. I think that might rattle some cages here, but I think that some people are very fixated on the building. And for myself, the church body made up of the people, that's the church, right? The body of people coming together to fellowship. And wherever you find that you're able to effectively do that and acknowledge God and, grow spiritually, because that's what this is all about. That's what this life is all about, spiritual growth. And it doesn't always happen. It never happens the same way for every person. Right. Every person's spiritual growth journey and their development is going to be different. It's not going to look the same. Mine won't look the same as yours, and yours won't look the same as Ebony's, and so on and so forth, which is evident by the fact that we all have different experiences. There's some common threads there. Like, there's some things that we can relate to, and that's to give ourselves the opportunity to share information and kind of get through this. But I feel like this whole world is designed so that we are needing to lean upon each other at some point in time. Any person that's walking through here on this earth that feels that they don't need anyone or don't want to ask for help, or, every single person will come to a point where their hand is forced at it. Even if it's uncomfortable, because we have to, that's just my little take on it. So, having church in the shower, and being able to commune at that time with the Lord. And that is awesome. Like you mentioned your walk. I think that's like when you're out in nature, that is the most amazing time, because you ever think, I'm such a great philosopher when I'm out walking. I'm like, oh yeah, I got to write that down. Or, all of the things I've been meditating on, because I started meditating not too far off, like maybe within the last couple of years, I really taken on meditation, and it's an opportunity to hear as opposed to prayer, which is, more so the asking, but the hearing and the meditation. And I will go on the walk, and then it's like, that's what you meant. I can hear it. I can hear him.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yep. It's a dedicated time to listen.
Yeah. Dedicated time to listen. Absolutely. We have to be able to receive. It's like if you ask, your child comes and says, mommy, can I? Mommy, can I? Mommy, can I? Mommy, can I? And you're continuously saying, yes, but this, or, this is how you do it. This is, and they're like, mommy. Right. Like, okay, but could you listen? If you listen, I'm trying to give you the answer, child. And that's the same way he is with them. Okay. So then, Joan, I think we've come to the end, and I have one final question, which I think is one of the most interesting for me, for all my guests at this time. What do you think COVID-19 is teaching us?
I think it's teaching us patience. Just, sometimes you just got to stop. I think, at least in my world, it's always going, right? It's always going. And now when you're forced to sit, you have to learn to be patient. I'm going to bring it back to my mom. She's a very social person. Always busy, always doing stuff. And when this came around, it was very hard for her to sit. Like she was defying rules that she shouldn't have been out there, due to her age and stuff. And when I would call her out on it, like, Joan, please, shut up, but she's better now. But in the beginning, it was really tough for her not to just sit and just enjoy whatever you got going on in your own home. But I think this really has taught us how to be patient and how to even appreciate home and the people in it. I know some people, it's the opposite. Like, some people may be going through domestic stuff or kids in abusive situations, and this has made it even worse for them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But I think for me in this, it's taught me how to be patient and how to sit and wait and do in the confines of my family, my home. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Like I said before, not everyone's having a good time right now. For some, they don't have enough resources to be comfortable, and so they're uncomfortable. It's really having a huge impact on their lives. But so there's the grace we've been granted to be able to have enough, because, you could say, like, because I've thought about this a lot, and it's like, okay, well, is that a testament to my preparation? that we're able to be comfortable. But no, it's not.
Right.
To some degree, maybe like a I don't know, like it's very tiny, my preparation, because all that preparation can be stripped away. We're all vulnerable to life. And if it is not written in our story that we should be in the position we are in right now, it can be different in a moment. in a split second, circumstances can change. So every day I am so gracious. I have such gratitude for having enough and being able to be comfortable right now, because I know that there are a lot of people who are not in that position. So
it's taught us how to adapt, right?
Yeah.
Like in like you said, it was a snap of a finger. It seemed like this was a snap of a finger situation that occurred. Like, okay, how are we? It's like survival. Like, okay, how are we gonna adapt?
A real life episode of survival.
Yes. How are we gonna navigate? How are we gonna do this? And like you said, by the grace of God, we're able to count our blessings and make it work as best as we can.
Yeah, because this is unprecedented. This is an unprecedented period of time. And without going too deeply with respect to politics, I know we've had pandemics before, but we never had a pandemic with this exact set of circumstances, with the leadership that we have in place, where the leadership and the medical experts are at opposite ends of what is being communicated and expecting the masses to follow whom, so it is a very unique period of time. And I just want to, whoever's listening out there, it is imperative that you vote. Imperative. Your vote absolutely matters. And it impacts your day to day. It impacts the decisions that are being made. It impacts everything that you do. Your vote weighs in on that. So please exercise your power and vote. Anyhow, my little PSA moment. But I thank you so much, Joan, for sharing all that you have. I mean, I've known you for, like you said, almost 3 decades here. And I learned even more today, just having this intimate conversation with you, the respect that you have for your mother. And she's absolutely worthy of your respect and your respect for your culture, and how you've been able to be authentically you and celebrate yourself. And I love also that you always, your Ghanaian culture is really and truly a part of you. It's not a purposeful display of who you are. It's just who you are. And I really appreciate that. I learned a lot just observing your family and how you all come together, and appreciate as well how you've all adopted me as part of your family, and how good you are to my children. So so kudos to you, and happy Phenomenal Woman Wednesday.
Hey. Thank you so much for having me. I know we tried to do this before, but I'm so glad today is today, and we were able to do this. This was a lot of fun. It was like talking to my girl as usual.
Yeah, so I agree.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Power 365 Phenomenal Woman Wednesdays. I believe that every woman gifts the universe with her own strengths and unique characteristics. Simply because she is born, the universe benefits. Every woman is growing, learning, and evolving. On this channel, only positive seeds are sown, no matter how flawed the soil. Take care and have a phenomenal Wednesday. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. The Phenomenal Woman Wednesday podcast can be found at www.pwwr.com and on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube.